Nervous supporters crowded into Dooley's pub Tuesday night. They gathered around their smartphones and laptops, anxiously comparing to see who had the most current election results. That morning, volunteers like Carolyn Barstad were knocking on doors and standing on street corners, hoping to turn out the vote for Eau Claire School Board incumbents Kathryn Duax and Wendy Sue Johnson.
I hope that Johnson and Duax win so that we have quality schools in Eau Claire.
Kathryn Duax and Wendy Sue Johnson were declared the winners Tuesday night, giving them another 3-year term on the school board. According to the unofficial results released by the City of Eau Claire, 28,117 votes were cast. Duax received 8,600 votes, which beat Johnson by slightly over 200.
I think people know me. I've lived in this community for 42 years, and they know my work at the university, and they know my work on the last 3 years on the school board. So I'm very pleased that they're pleased with what I've done, and I think they feel they can trust my judgment.
David Westrate and Wallace Brucker, the other two candidates, received roughly 6,000 and 5,000 votes respectively. The race had taken on a more contentious tone in the weeks leading up to the election. Activists from both sides of the political aisle came out to support Duax and Johnson or the more conservative pair of Westrate and Brucker. Supporters of Johnson and Duax say that they were concerned about the future of area schools and wanted to protect the schools from deep budgetary cuts.
I think it's going to make the difference between whether we have quality schools in Eau Claire or not. And I think that if Johnson and Duax are elected, we will have quality schools.
Brian Westrate, Eau Claire County Republican Party chair and son of David, disagrees. He says that the cuts are necessary and that the elder Westrate and Brucker brought the experience to make those cuts responsibly.
I think that those two men and the experience they bring to the table, I would argue, will better serve the students and the taxpayers of the Eau Claire School District, and the employees for that matter.
Turnout was much higher this year than in previous elections. According to the Eau Claire County records, only 13,577 votes were cast 3 years ago in the same election. While this may be due in part to the Republican presidential primary being held on the same day, both Johnson and Duax acknowledge that the contentious nature of the election may explain such a spike in voters. Johnson says that Tuesday's results show that Eau Claire values a quality public education.
You know, the community of Eau Claire values a managed change in a way that includes everybody in the process, respecting teachers and staff to get their reactions before we make changes for the sake of making changes and not knowing what the consequences might be.
For Inside Eau Claire, this is Peyton Miller.